Okay guys, here we are. That's the neighbor's property on the west end. We're gonna start from the beginning and we're gonna take you in. So all of this, we're just gonna keep on going down the street line. It's a lot more thinner than it was when we came in the beginning. We've been slowly working on things, making pathways, clearing areas, trying to get to the ground and see what's down there. See exactly what can we do. We're just trying to get an idea of how to map out the exact farm plan according to what we wrote and according to what the land is now rating. So as you can tell, especially in spaces like this, you could never enter that without cutting something. So we kind of had to cut our pathways, make our way through, and we're about halfway through the property now. It's pretty wide in the front. And then we'll take you through the strip that we're working on now. As you can see, if you know your botany, there's plenty of invasives that are coexisting with some natives. Much like the population in Hawaii today. You might see some visible trails or open areas. You might have even seen the one area where you can tell there was bonfires. And that has a lot to do with squatters or campers. This property was vacant for a very long time. And here we are, you can see our camping area. And there goes the open driveway. So we're going to get out. If you can see, sorry for all the car stuff, there's the front of the property. I'm just going to park properly and we're going to head out and see. Okay, let me go ahead and put my keys away for now. And let's get out and see what's going on. How far did we come? So as you can tell, it's a pretty wooded area. Hope I'm not going too fast. I can't see the screen now. And here we have the open driveway area that we cut down all the saplings here so that we can actually get into the property. We're preparing that particular area to put the address sign. That pile right there in front of us is all going to be mulched. This area over here is the other brush wall that we've created. It's pretty tall. It's about 8-9 feet tall in some areas. You can tell where we started. All the sticks are on the ground now. Things have settled down a little. We've added lots of fishtail palm from what we've cleared out. And everybody say hi to Buddy. We all know that is our lurch. He greets you as you enter the property. So you have to be really careful when you're walking. Okay, so if you look ahead, if you recall, all of that was heavily wooded. And we're working one slice at a time as opposed to clearing the whole property. I do not want to shock the environment that we're in, nor do I want to sit in the sun all day. So while it's nice to have a clearing to get started with our planting, we are also cognizant of the fact that we want cool, shady breeze every once in a while. So that's maybe, I don't know, maybe a third to a half of the way back. We've only been to the back side of the property once. We've never seen the back corner. And over here you can see some of the fern that we managed to save, although much of the stuff here is trimmed down. We do have some Mahalo roots to pull out. We left the roots intact until it's time to start mulching and planting. We do not want soil erosion to hit us. There's a coconut over here, okay? So that's the first coconut that we planted, and it went through some trauma. A few trees from back there fell this way, and so it's now coming back to life. These are the tea that we received from somebody, and they're just sitting in a bucket of water for now. We'll get to planting those shortly if they survive the bucket of water status. Yeah, got to get them out of there. Okay, there's some of the tea that we did plant, and they still have some recovery to do, the old leaves. Okay, I don't know how long they were sitting before they were in. So there you see our little break area, our kitchen way back there, okay? And there goes Cowboy. Cowboy's a good boy. He protects our property, and sometimes from us. So while we're going through the adjustment phase, it is a bit rocky. Thank you to Richard Carr and Paul Tonneson for this beautiful tub that I've kept my my protected nursery items in. So if you look inside, we have some more coconut that were pulled up. We have some popolo down there. Some of the things we've planted, some of the things we've moved around. As the plants get healthier and can withstand the wind, they're generally pulled out of there and put in a larger pot. As you can tell, this was the original pathway that we had to cut ourselves through. It now just became the original pathway that we will use. On this side, we were able to save some of the ginger that was there, and we planted our first ulu. These poles right here will be lashed for fencing when the time comes. And we've started with, okay, so this right here is popolo. Obviously, that's a mulch pile behind it. So we put them in the boxes so that the popolo are undisturbed by some of the invasives that were in this area. And we're going to raise the garden around the boxes. Eventually the boxes will break down, and by then the invasives will be gone. Okay, this whole area right here is the ginger that we were saving. What we did, because so much of it was damaged by fallen trees, was cut it down, and once we clear that area, it'll pop back up. Some of it already has, as did those fishtail palms and some inkberries. So going through, this was all lush and green. You see what happens when you kill nature. Of course, it was necessary in order to get rid of the invasives and open the farm. All of those are invasive trees. Okay, so those ones back here are all African tulip. These are all African tulip. There's an African tulip and a Mahikū over that way, and some more Mahikū as we reach the front again. And there goes Buddy's backside in the front of the driveway. It's quite a distance. Probably about 6 cars away from me. Okay, let me be careful going down these steps. It's quite primitive now for a step, but we'll get there. Okay, this was all fishtail palm, and obviously they're all defeated and in a pile now. We've opened up, of course, there's more fortress walls with the brush that we cut down. We've opened up a new path back this way. Can't go very far. In another video I showed you all the lilikoi vine, and you can see it when you look up in that area. This entire area looked like that. Okay, so it was quite a task to get through and open up. We have the noni that I showed you in an earlier video, and you actually see that in some of our flyers. Okay, that was a little damage from fallen trees as well, but it will survive. It looks like we have some predators here that like to munch on it as well. So those are observations that we want to be mindful of, and we can answer questions regarding that later. Much of this is going to be coconut, ginger, and papaya on this side. And as we see, Cal wants to lead the way. Okay, so these are pretty massive brush stacks. Much of that will get mulched in. The logs will be used for the raised gardens. It'll help us when we create compost. So if you remember before, it was quite a task to make it back to the cane grass area. Not only was I able to walk back here in about a minute or two, but it's also cut back quite a bit. So if you look back this way, somewhere back there, there's a bit of a ravine. Can't really get through there. All of that wooded area in the back will be worked on this weekend. We're preparing for our first major work day. Excuse me. This weekend. There'll probably be a lot of people out here, maybe 30, 40 people that'll help us make our way through this field. There's lots of interesting stuff back there. And I can't see it right now, but there's a queen palm back there. She's beautiful. You see these little structures right here? This is where the boys are building compost boxes. This one's already filled with the cane grass. That's going to help us develop soil. So when we build the raised gardens, we'll have a bit of a foundation to start with here. And we'll continue to do these along this side of the cane grass. And looking ahead, I'm actually looking directly at the campsite. Let me zero in. You can see thickness and craziness, fineness. So right ahead of us, let's see, above these gingers, that's an octopus tree, but you cannot tell because it's full of lily koi. As is this tree, full of lily koi. That's all lily koi. It's a really tasty one too. So you can tell we have lots of African tulip going on. Okay, you can see those bright orange flowers. So sometime decades ago, somebody thought it would be a great idea to beautify Hawaii by scattering African tulip seeds. I don't know if they were in an airplane or a helicopter, but those things kind of took over much of our land space and landscape. And it's getting harder and harder to find native plants. I thought there would be quite a bit more species on this property, but there's not. So let me zero back out so you can see this again. Okay, so looking at the compost bins right there, this is the part where I told you in one of our first videos, or probably a couple of them, that we're dedicated to using what we cut down to bring back new growth. And I'm committed to not spending the money that I don't have buying frivolous things from the store that nature already gives us for free. So with that being said, we can fill this up, we can make this soil, and whether we take it down or eventually it breaks down, it will go back to the land that it came from. And that's the point. That's what we all do, right? We rise from ashes and we fall into ashes again. So at some point before, we would not be able to have stood back here and seen the street, but you can today. You can see the brush pile that we were walking past that I told you was going to be mulched, and that brush pile all right there. It was about a story high. It's about 9-10 feet high now. It was just all bush there at one point in time, but it's all brush there now. So that concludes our video for today. I'll give you a highlight this weekend. We're having work day Saturday and Sunday. Some campers are coming out so that they can spend more time here and less time on the road. It's quite a distance if you're traveling from town, and I'm not talking about Hana Town, we're close to that. But when you're driving from central Maui, it takes about 2 hours to get out here. Faster if you're a pro, and longer if you come during tourist hours. So with that being said, I'm going to make my way back up to the campsite. Take note of all this brush because it won't be here after this week. The landscape is going to look a tad bit different again. All right, take care. Malama pono. Ame aloha aina.